Hi, and welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, October 16th. I'm Giovanni Betancourt, analyst, trader, and operator with Vantage Markets. Alrighty, so here we have the Nasdaq, right? The fluctuation of precisely since October 13th, and so far, for the entire month so far, August 19th, 29th. And today is October 16th, sorry. So what can we expect for today's fluctuation? If we look at, in market analysis, there's a theory that says that you can guide yourself to what the week will be ahead by looking at the previous market action. So on Friday, we saw that the market actually closed to the downside. So if we see something that will show us the market had opened very close or it had opened with a gap down, then that most likely will happen. But in this case, the market gapped up, gapped up, so that scenario is out of the water. Another way that we can find what was called as the most traded value will be to grab the fluctuation of the previous day. In this case was Friday. Add the open 15,320, add the high 15,365, and add the low 15,061. Divide that by 3, and then you'll get a number 15,248, which is the blue line what we have. So that's also what other people call typical value. So given that typical value, you can use that as a pivot point. If the market is below it, it'll act as a magnet, and then obviously as a resistance. If the market is above it, is a magnet, it'll act as a support. Okay, so we can contemplate that if we are going to have a strong momentum to the upside, around that area is where we'll find that resistance. We are very close to, obviously, also to a psychological number, 15,200. So initially, since we are looking in the market's action today, fluctuation, we saw that market did trend higher up to 15,186, and it's been retracing so far from it. So how much lower can it come? Well, if they do come to close this small gap, we can use 15,100 as a possible point of resistance. I have mine at 15,000, which is a psychological round number. So initially, you can continue with the momentum to the upside and see and have your target around this area, around this typical price. So that will be one case. Otherwise, you could also say, these two wars going on are not going to be any good, and markets could just drop. So 15,000 could be a target. The same token goes for the S&P. In this case, though, the S&P is above our most traded value or typical value of 43.75. So right now it'll act as a resistance, so it'll as a support, so it'll attract it to it. So let's see if that's the case. Here we have the Dow. The Dow is more of a momentum to the upside by itself in reality. So I'm more bullish on the Dow than the previous two. So the same token goes. Now the typical price is below the market, so it'll act as a support. Then we have crude oil, that the typical price is way below the market. So now this also could indicate us that we have pretty good momentum to the upside on crude oil. So $90 will be my target. Then we have Nat Gas. Nat Gas has made a nice triple top in reality, and it has trading down from that. This gap down, it was partially very close, so we can continue to speculate that the momentum will continue to drop, to go lower, so we could sell Nat Gas. Then we have gold that also opened with a small gap down. It hasn't been closed, and the market continues to do that. The typical price is at 1889, so that's going to act as a support, which is right below that 1900 psychological support level. So selling gold can be an opportunity Silver typical price is way below the market price right now. So, but it did open also with a gap down. It has been closed. So around the 2260, that's one area of interest. So what will we see? Will we continue to see to the upside, or will it drop? One thing that will help it either way is what the dollar index is doing. So we'll look at that in a moment. Then we have copper. We have the typical price below the market, so it's acting as a support. So, and we did open with a small gap up. It has been closed, so you can contemplate going long. Then we have the currencies, which in this case, the typical price isn't going to be much help because there's so much volatility in the currencies. But we are right now looking to see north of 105 and on the euro, and north of 121 on the pound. So being bullish with the currencies and the metals, and that will happen as the dollar index continues to decline, retrace back towards the 106 and below. Then we'll see that nice movement on the currencies and the metals. All right, that's it for me today. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.